Now, the CARIFTA Games are set for Hamilton in Bermuda from April 10 to 13, and the president of the Bermuda National Athletics Association, Donna Raynor, is confident the event will go ahead. She joins us on the phone. Donna, good afternoon. Welcome to the SportsMax Zone.
Good afternoon. How are you?
It is well with us. How are you over there?
I'm okay.
Under the circumstances, good. What gives you the confidence and at this point, peace of mind, Donna, that you won't have to alter your schedule any at all?
Well, I don't think at this point I could say that I'm totally confident and that I have peace of mind. I would like to say that, and basically what we're doing in Bermuda is that we are keeping a very close eye on what's happening with the coronavirus, not only in Bermuda but in the Caribbean islands as well. We have one of our security officer who is part of our local organizing committee. He also sits on the health organization committee of Bermuda. They're having a meeting tomorrow to discuss all of these sporting events that are taking place in Bermuda, because we have the international triathlon is supposed to take place the Friday after CARIFTA. And of course, that will involve several athletes from the U.S., from Europe, and so on and so forth. And I guess the only kind of saving grace that we have is that, our athletes are coming from the Caribbean. Most of the athletes are coming on charters. So far, Bermuda hasn't had anybody that has tested positive for this virus. So, I mean, as I said, we can be confident and say that, it's going to take place. I'm not feeling, especially excited right now. I mean, basically, we are ready. Our track, we've got a new refurbished track, which is ready. I think we are ready to host the games, but we have to be directed by our government and by our health officials at the end of the day, because health and safety of Bermuda and health and safety of the athletes is A1 important.
So Donna, where the CARIFTA Games are concerned, if you are to look at CARICOM, isolate CARICOM and say, if you're to isolate CARICOM, is it that your health officials are going to be guided by the state of play in individual CARICOM countries to canvass the block to say, well, how many of these countries are affected and how many people could potentially be exposed, and what's the level of threat to the Bermuda situation if these student athletes come over from these countries? Is that kind of the process that will inform the decision of whether to hold or to leave the CARIFTA Games alone for this year?
And I'm sure that's probably what they're going to look at. Again, it's going to be dependent on where these athletes are coming from, as you said, what the state of their country is at the moment. And also the other thing that we have to look at is, what procedures will we even put in place if we say we're going to go ahead with the games. We've got to have procedures put in place when the athletes arrive in Bermuda as well, which of course we would have to inform all of the other countries. Now, when you arrive in Bermuda, this is what's going to happen. So I think that's one of the discussions that they're having as well. If we say we're going to go ahead with the games, what procedures are we going to put in place to make sure that Bermuda stays safe? So, those are all of the discussions that are taking place now. And as you know, we have, less than 4 weeks before the games are supposed to take place. So, I'm sure, people will have to make reservations. I know there are some people that have already made reservations. So, we've got to kind of act on this pretty quickly, because we don't want this to be a case where you have all these people that's made reservations. There's nowhere to go. We've also got to talk to our NACAC region to find out, our president, and say, exactly, what do you think we should do? How should we do it? Do we postpone? Is it going to be the first time CARIFTA's been canceled? Do we move it to another date if possible? So I think all of these discussions have to take place, because, from my standpoint, it would really be sad if we are not able to have CARIFTA in 2020. But at the end of the day, if this is becoming a health risk, then, we have to just forfeit it and say, this is just how it is. This is what's happening in the world. It's not like it's just happening in Bermuda or just happening in the Caribbean. It's happening around the world. So we have to be very conscious of that as well.
Donna, April 10th seems just a few weeks away, but let's just say, I mean, today Jamaica, they came out, and now the entire world is aware that there's one case of coronavirus here. Let's just say in the coming days, you know, more information comes to hand like that. Would you cancel the event?
As I said, we're going to take the directives from our health authority in Bermuda, and I'm sure they're going to look at all of that, and they're going to come back to us and say, this is what the decision has to be. I don't think at the end of the day I can make the decision, or my committee can make the decision. It's probably going to be the government of Bermuda and the health organization of Bermuda is going to say, for the health of our country, you know, we're going to have to cancel the event or postpone the event, or, you know, whatever decision is made. But I don't think I can come out and say, this is what's going to happen. You know, even from a standpoint, I'm going to meet with our regional president and have a discussion with our technical and our organizational delegate and my committee, and we, you know, sit down and talk. So I don't think we can make the decision. I think the decision is going to be kind of directed by our government and by our health organization in Bermuda.
Yeah, Donna, we see that the Royal Gazette newspaper quoted you or suggested in a story this week that you were confident that it would be okay for the CARIFTA Games, and against the background, one of your quotes suggested that at least up to that point, the Caribbean hadn't been afflicted with this virus. Well, in the last 5 hours, Jamaica now comes up with one case. Does this shake your confidence any? I know it's not your decision,
definitely.
but as a governing body, would you recognize that as a situation where your confidence could be shaken then?
Oh, definitely. I mean, today has been probably a day where we've had more emails and phone calls, you know, basically advise, you know, have you heard that Jamaica's had one case? So, of course, that's totally changed the ball game, totally. We're now, okay, we're looking at it, you know, it could be today is Jamaica, tomorrow it could be Bahamas, the day after that it could be Bermuda. So that's definitely shaken our confidence, where we definitely cannot say confidently, oh, CARIFTA will take place. I think, you know, the happenings of today has definitely changed that totally.
Finally, Donna, I know that the CARIFTA Games are like a chalice that passes from hand to hand around the room in terms of the countries in this part of the world. If it is that you weren't able to go ahead this year with the event based on expert advice, is it that the powers that be would consider Bermuda to host next year's event if all goes well?
I'm hoping, as I said, I've just come off a conversation with our organization delegate, and, you know, maybe we talked about, maybe we start looking at plan B, plan C. It could be, you know, would we be able to move it to another date later in the year? I don't know. You know, we can't say that yet. Could we say, well, since Bermuda was ready and couldn't host it this year, that they host it in 2021? I guess there's all of the questions that we would have to answer and ask, you know, and sit around the table with everybody and say, you know, Bermuda has put in all this work. You know, we've got medals, we've got everything here, you know, just ready to have the games. Do we just let that go to waste, or do we, you know, look at another plan? So I think those are questions that, you know, we're going to have to answer, you know, if a decision is made that, you know, we can't have CARIFTA April 10th to the 13th. Then we say, okay, well, are we just going to cancel it and say that's it? Or are we going to say, let's look at a different plan or another plan? So I think those are all the questions that have to be answered. You know, if a decision is made that, you know, April 10th to 13th is not going to happen.
Spare a thought for the engraver. We'll have to change the dates and all those medals if it is that we have to come back to Grenada next year. Well, Donna, thank you very much. I wish you and your team all the best, and stay sanitized.
Thank you. You too.
Good.